Hey man, it's Phil X, and you're watching Guitar Tales with Dave Cohen. And Guitar Tales, guitar tales. Like, what else do you need, right? Guitar. We're geeks, nerds, gear, inspirations, positive vibes. Look out.
And thank you to the great Phil X for that amazing bumper. Friend of the show, great guy. I think he's a 3-time guest at this point. And you know, before we bring on our new guest, we have one of the few guests since COVID where we actually met in person before we actually had him on the show. So Jeremy Asbrock is going to be on in a minute. But before we pull him in from the green room, and Scott is sitting around in the green room, I'd like to thank Confections of a Rock Star. Absolutely fabulous place. I was just there a few days ago. Hung out with Kimmy for about a minute or two, and she gave us some free snacks. Wonderful place. Those things right there were delicious. Very cool place. If you're a rock star, if you're a rock enthusiast, if you like sweets, if you have a dog, if you don't have a dog, she has it all for you. If you are Alice Cooper, go there. You have been there if you're Alice Cooper. So go to Confections of a Rock Star in Asbury. You will not be disappointed. It's a great place. Fabulous place. So we have a wonderful guest. Scott and I went to see Ace Frehley, I think after he was on our show. And we hung out with Jeremy and had a couple of beers with him and had an absolutely fabulous time. So if you guys want to hop in from the green room, maybe one at a time, two at a time.
I'm hopping.
You're
There
hopping.
I go. I'm on the other side. Hello again.
The good side.
How's your nose?
It's almost better. The schnoz, let's see.
Right for those that don't know, well, probably from the show previous to this taping, Dave injured his nose in a frying pan accident.
It was an improvident choice of an omelet flip, and I splattered oil all over my face. But the scab has begun to slough off, and I even did a redemption video for Scott, and then I burnt my hand in the process. I splattered oil on my hand.
Unbelievable! I thought you were sending me the video of the accident when it actually happened.
That was not on video.
You did it again.
No, I did a successful flip for Scott, and then I splashed my hand, and I burnt right here. I got oil all over my hand there.
Great.
So no more flipping for me.
Hot oil.
Yeah.
Well, tonight's guest, no stranger to us. Met him in person at the show. We're going to talk about that awesome Firebird sparkle blue thing that he's got. Who made that, and where did it come from? Is it neck heavy, and all those other kind of guitar questions that we like to ask on this show.
We will have fun.
So let's bring him on and shut him up here. And
hey guys,
there you are.
Let's put him over here. There, guest of honor.
Let's give him the guest of honor gets a better spot than we do.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, hello from Nashville.
How's it going, guys?
We're in New Jersey.
We're good.
I asked you guys, how's it going? You're like, well, we're in New Jersey.
Hey,
what does that mean exactly?
Well, it means it's a little colder than it should be, and it's been a little overcast around here.
Yeah.
We can't really enjoy the weather as much as we'd like. It's been a little chilly. Started at 40 degrees this morning, got up to about 60.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It's going to drop again tonight.
Although I have to admit,
we've had flash flooding and tornadoes and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, that kind of sucks too.
So what's your big body of water there that you would get flooding? You're not
the Cumberland River.
Okay. I will be in Nashville this summer. I have a law conference down there, so I'll look you up if you want to grab a drink.
Yeah, man, give me a shot.
Yeah, sometime in July I'll be there, so we'll definitely hang. Yeah,
you guys can go swimming in that river.
That's right.
Hopefully it's on a weekday because we have got a pretty busy calendar with Ace.
It's summer. Really filling up all of a sudden. Am I right? Like it didn't seem like it. You had a couple of nice gigs. All right, it was busy, but it wasn't crazy busy. Now it looks like
we're out
kind of crazy busy
every weekend until September.
Wow, that's fabulous, though.
Yeah.
It was such a great show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
a lot of energy. So you guys are like at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, I think is one of the dates, right?
In Florida.
Yeah.
Orlando, Florida. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great venue. I've been
Yeah,
there.
we
I
played there
stayed
with
there.
Ace before. I love that venue.
yeah.
It's a great venue.
They got
up
some
there.
really, really great rooms and great dates coming up. You can get all those dates at acefrehley.com for sure.
I notice we're saying it right. Before Ace was on the show, we kept practicing because there is that tendency to say Frehley.
Frehley, yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of drives me up the wall. I've never called him Ace Frehley. It was, like, even when I was a little kid, it was always Frehley.
Yeah, real fans know how to say it.
Well,
But
well, think about it. Like on a
interviews
live,
I've seen where they say it wrong.
well, and like on a live too, Paul Stanley doesn't say Ace Frehley, lead guitar, shock me. He says Ace Frehley, lead guitar. I mean, it's right there.
I know. Then why is it that? I guess because Frehley is more common. I grew up loving Ace Frehley. I had it wrong my whole childhood.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. I'll fess up. But
I might have. I don't remember honestly.
Like you've seen the shirts that Canadians wear that say A and it's EEH question
Yeah.
mark.
Oh, I
It's just
love
like,
that.
Well, it's FREHLEY.
Right.
Frehley.
Yeah.
Hey?
He doesn't seem to give a damn though.
No.
He'll screw it up. Whatever. So these tour dates are gonna be. How do you get from one place to another? You guys drive there, take a bus, fly sometimes, or
So we all fly into a city, and then usually the run is kind of regional, so nothing's more than 4 hours away. So the band and the crew are in a Sprinter van, and Ace and his entourage are in a SUV, and we all just kind of drive, and then we all fly out of that last location.
That's pretty cool. Now, let me ask you this. Does anyone are there fun videos floating around of the behind the scenes stuff when you guys are
You'll never see him.
Honestly, not really. I thought about it though. I thought about like cutting together like a day in the life of, what a day is like for us.
Right.
I was actually thinking about doing that because I did realize like we don't really have anything like that.
It's a lot of
someday you're
gonna
gonna
type stuff.
and someday you'll be an old man and you could look back on those times and those tapes,
Like, I remember when I'd get up at 7:00 in the morning after going to bed at 1 and then driving in a Sprinter van for 4 hours. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my son was like, plays guitar, and he's like, "Man, I want to tour the world. I want to be a guitar player." So let me show you something. See that kid over there is wearing that concert T-shirt. Take a look at those numbers and dates for a second. Look, do you see any time off between shows there?
Yeah.
Like a Bon Jovi tour or a Who tour or something crazy, like where they're every single day they're in another city or state or town or something.
And then if you think about hotel check-in is at 3:00, but you get to town at like 11:30 or 12, so you got to hope they'll let you check in early, which doesn't always happen.
No.
Right.
And if that doesn't happen, then you go to the venue and just sit because the band doesn't really have anything to do.
No.
So the crew are doing their thing, and you just sit.
Well,
I never thought about that. So that's 3, 4, 5 hours of downtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you have an interview at the local radio station or Guitar Tales, there's a lot of hang time.
And we generally put a lot of energy into the show, and we're not puppies anymore. So, man, you go to bed at 1 and wake up at 7 to ride 4 hours to the next town. I'm still tired from the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
Show.
I feel you on that. That's at age, I just turned 60 this year, and I'm starting to notice that I have one good jump in me per show. And that's it. Like, and my throat is like done.
Yeah, man, I'm almost 50 years old, and I'm doing high kicks and high heel boots and stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's work, man.
That brings us to the guitar that you've been playing lately. At least the guitar we saw when we saw you. It was a Gibson Firebird that was all painted and blue sparkle, which is gorgeous, and it sounded amazing.
It's stunning.
Now, what's the history behind that?
Right.
So I've had that guitar since 2007. I played David Letterman with a band in 2006, and I didn't get to keep the guitar that I used. So as a consolation prize, they gave me that one, and it was black. It was black. It's a Firebird Studio, so it's thicker than a regular Firebird, and it's got full-size humbuckers instead of mini humbuckers.
Okay.
And it doesn't have the banjo tuners. It just has regular tuners, which means it's not top heavy. Like,
Oh, okay.
so it doesn't do the thing where if you let your hands go, it just falls. It doesn't do that.
Nice.
So, man, I've been wanting to use it for a while. I'm getting a little burnt on Les Paul shapes. I've been doing that for a while. And I made friends with a guy from the Gibson Custom Shop named Rob Schultz. And he had done a bass for Chuck Garrick, and it was a Silver Sparkle. It was a Thunderbird. And he's just like, man, let me do something. Let's do something together. Let's do something together. And then it's like, what can we do? Like, paint this Firebird. Do something with it. Make it. And then I thought, like, how about Pelham Blue Sparkle? And he found the closest thing he could find to Pelham Blue Sparkle and painted it. I work with DiMarzio pickups. So in my Les Paul, I have a pickup called a Fortitude, which is like a hotter PAF. It's not like super gainy. It's just got a little more oomph than your average PAF. And in the neck, I have a 36th anniversary, which honestly, I don't use the neck pickup that much. But
right, yeah, you want
whatever.
something much brighter for the kind of stuff you're playing.
Yeah. So I like that Fortitude so much that I just had the same pickups in that Firebird.
Oh, that's great.
And it's a pain in the ass to travel with because those nice flight cases with wheels, they don't make those for Firebirds and Explorers and stuff. So I have to gig bag it, and what a pain in the ass.
And so is the body a lot heavier because it's thicker?
Yeah.
So that's that's a little extra weight.
But it's probably tougher than a standard Les Paul, which are famous for having broken necks all the time, especially traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the horror of sitting in the airplane and watching them load the plane?
Oh,
and throw your gear onto the plane like this?
Normally, with the kind of case I travel with the Les Paul, I have one of those SBK super heavy duty things. Like, man, you could throw that thing off the Empire State Building, and I think it'd be okay.
Right.
But boy, sometimes
that
it really gets
so
tough.
Good looking though. I'm willing to go through the pains.
It's nice that you're playing sort of a different rig than Ace is. It just kind of separates a little bit. I mean, if you're all guys that are playing Les Pauls,
exactly.
I think I felt like it helped you stand out a little bit more too, and the sound is a little bit different as well.
And back when Ryan played guitar, he had a Les Paul also, so it was just like a lot of Les Pauls across the front of the stage.
Big Les Paul commercial.
Yeah. But what's cool is that you guys are a real band in the sense it's not like Ace is saying this is the kind of guitar you're going to play. This is exactly what I want. He's letting you be you.
Oh yeah, totally.
And you guys jam, and I've seen you twice now. I think you were with them back last summer, right? Or in 20, and that was a great show at the Palladium. And, and you guys, I mean, you filled the place great. The sound was great, and you were all having fun up there. But I like the fact that you each have the freedom to be yourselves in that band, which one wouldn't take for granted. When you're hooking up with someone as famous as Ace, but each of you guys has your own personality you bring to the band, and I think it's fabulous.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely, you let him do his thing, and you guys do your thing, and then when you interact, it's all good. The hands and the, and all that stuff. And,
it's still kind of a trip, man. Sometimes I'm 7 years old again, and wow, is this really happening? I can't believe this is happening.
It is wild. Now, how did you originally hook up with Ace?
It was Gene. We did that tour of Australia, and Ace opened for Gene, and we backed both bands. And we were already scheduled to go to Japan with Ace from Australia, but we weren't like in his band at that point.
Gotcha.
And it was in Sydney, Australia. I will never forget this. Gene pulled me into his dressing room. He's like, Ace is going to ask you to do the cruise. I was just like, what? And I asked him, like, how do you feel about that? He's just like, guys, go do it. Have fun. And then, when we went to Japan, he asked us to do the cruise. And, I pretty much knew at that point it was going to be permanent. And Gene was going back to KISS to do the 5-year tour. At that point, though, he had still planned on us being the band. Him getting a new band didn't really happen until the beginning of this year. And, man, the biggest part of me never assumed that we were going to be his band again after that. It was just, if we are, fantastic. If we're not, then that was an awesome experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so let's go further back in time. How did you originally hook up with Gene?
So Ryan and I were in an 80s metal cover band called Big Rock Show, and Big Rock Show did Kiss Cruise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 10. So, all the guys had heard us and seen us at that point, and
Right.
Gene actually reached out to Six Man, the company that puts on the cruises, to get Ryan's contact info, and he contacted Ryan and asked if he could put together a band because he had about 6 shows planned that tied in with these Wizard World conventions he was doing, and the Vault was coming out also.
Okay.
And, I was kind of a shoe-in on that one.
Yeah.
And originally we were going to pass the bass around and Gene was just going to come out and sing like Las Vegas style, but then good sense prevailed and he played bass. But at that point, it's just like, we weren't going to kick a guy out. So we went on that amazing adventure together. And I think that's one of the like lightning in a bottle things that Gene got that honestly, I don't even know if he realized. It wasn't like putting a band together and getting all these guys who like maybe knew each other. Me and Ryan and Phil were best friends. We already played together. We already hung out together. Like we were already a unit.
That goes a long way.
It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, as far as chemistry, and we already knew, vocally what each guy does best. And even on, we divvied up all the guitar parts pretty equally and just had the greatest time of our entire lives. It was amazing.
That is, and then doing a cruise that's a whole different thing, right?
Absolutely. It's 24 hours, man.
I don't know if I could do a cruise. Nobody gets seasick or anything?
Oh yeah, people get seasick.
I
don't get seasick.
Oh man, when I want to.
But then that is just nonstop imbibing, right? Like, is it like a true?
If that's your thing, I mean, there are people that don't drink.
Yeah,
you can still have a good time, but I mean, for the most part, yeah, it's an all-day drinking affair for most people. I mean, a lot of the band guys don't do that because we're still there to work.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Well, that's something we talked about many times on the show. Unless you're sober or something, drinking and playing could be kind of detrimental, especially if you're being paid to do a job, right? It's not a party for you. It's a party for them and all that kind of stuff.
I've seen some singers not make their show.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
It could take you down, man. And
during,
definitely ruin the performance.
And then during the day is fraternizing.
Well, there's shows all day long. I mean, there's fraternizing.
There you go.
From the moment you wake up till the minute you go to bed.
Yeah.
And that's actually what makes most people lose their voice so fast is the talking. It's not the drinking, it's the talking. And then you get the shows or the casino bar and it's really loud and you're yelling at people and they're yelling back, and then the next morning you sound
I've
like
often
Lenny.
been accused of being an asshole because I won't talk to the fans between sets. And my wife has like, what's with your husband? He's being kind of an asshole. Well, he's trying to conserve his voice.
He's saving his voice.
He's in here yelling, and you're talking about the weather and shit, and he just can't.
Scott's actually an asshole.
Yeah. Well, you're in a loud bar. You're like, anyway, and then you go up to try to sing "Twisted Sister," and it's not happening.
Yeah,
that's not happening for me ever. One time, there's a cover band in town called Guilty Pleasures, and they do like just 80 songs, and I was doing "We're Not Gonna Take It," and I discovered in front of about 2,000 people that's way out of my range.
Some nights it sucks, and we down 2.5 step, and some nights it still sucks. And actually, I think the original song is down 2.5 step. So
really?
I'm singing in the original key, yeah. But we had Hez from the Amish Outlaws singing with us once, and he was doing one-handed push-ups on stage. It was unbelievable. what a showman he is. And then what's happening with RCMC, Rock City Machine Company?
We are opening for the Dead Daisies here in Nashville, Tennessee on June 16th.
Cool.
Phil is going to do this show with us. we were supposed to do a tour last December that wound up not happening, and Phil was not going to be able to do that with us. So that was why, if you watch the videos, he's not in the videos, because we were planning on a different tour lineup. And
I
then,
see.
Yeah, he's around for this, and
Cool.
it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
I love your sound. It's old school, heavy rock and roll. I love it.
Oh, it's
Thank
great.
you.
Gambling Man's great.
The thing I really am proud of, the fact that it doesn't like draw from any one particular band. It sounds like everybody you can tell that we listen to and we're influenced by. Like, you're going to hear a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Right.
Even like the songs themselves, it's not like, oh, well, that's Back in Black, or oh, that's
Yeah.
like,
well, that's
not
something
any
I haven't been able to
specific
pin
song.
on you yet. Who your idols are, guitar idols, because you're playing with Ace. So, I mean, obviously he's part of the mix, but you're playing, Kiss and Ace songs. So it's hard for me to say,
Right.
oh, there's an influence there of, I don't know, Angus Young, let's say, because you're kind of playing the song like Ace would play it, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
who's
obviously, like,
your
Van Halen
who'd
is
you grow up listening to?
my guy. I mean, I even did a video recently where I was breaking down one of the solos on the record. It was When Trouble Finds You.
Right.
And when we first were writing that song, I kind of felt like it was Women in Love. And then as it progressed, it took on more of an AC/DC vibe. And when it got to the solo, I was like, well, I could do like some pentatonic Angus Young thing. But then I thought about the solo to Women in Love, and, it was like this fast pull off thing with, like major thirds and stuff. And I thought, well, what if I do something like that? And I was proud of the fact that I didn't do the pentatonic solo that you would expect.
Right.
But like, Eddie Van Halen, and not just his solos, like his rhythm guitar player had a huge effect on me, just like the chord inversions he would use, or the riffs he would play instead of just doing a generic bar chord, and the string groupings he would use for certain chords. Pete Townsend and the Who, they were like the second band I ever got into. And
Dave's a huge Who nerd.
Yeah, I'm a complete Who. And Pete is so much more about the rhythm.
The rhythm, totally.
I don't even think he's a strong lead player.
So much of his rhythm playing and Ed's playing. Like, I can tell Ed was into Pete's rhythm also.
Right.
Like if you listen to something like Little Guitars or whatever. But Jimmy Page, there's even some oddball stuff like Brian Setzer, like that album. The Dirty
he's
Boogie.
wonderful.
I really got into that because I was going through this finger picking phase at the time. And man, he kind of like blended all of the Burl Travis, Chet Atkins stuff with like fucking hot rod, rock and roll guitar playing. And man, I wound up seeing them like 5 times on that tour. And dude's awesome.
The Stray Cats were a great power trio. You forget it was only 3 guys, and he was carrying the whole band with all those chords and the singing and everything else.
Oh, and he's touring now, I think. I see him all over social
media. I think he's always on tour.
Yeah.
He comes here like every Christmas and does this Christmas show at the Ryman.
Yeah.
We reached out to try to have him on the show, but when you got a celebrity at that level, either they don't get back to you right away or they don't get back to you at all. And when they finally do get back to you, they're too damn busy to I have guys in the back burner that are not going to be on until September, December. Call me in September, call me in October.
All right. Well, I just met you guys like 2 months ago, so thanks for bumping me up the list a little bit.
Well, I know you're about to be super busy.
Yeah.
We stuck it in there, and I know Dave is going away, so we got all the I'm trying to juggle all these dates and stuff.
So there's another guy named Zal Clemenson from the sensational Alex Harvey band.
Okay.
He's a huge guitar player for me. I mean, he dresses up like a mime and shit. That's
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But hey, whatever. I like Kiss, But like his playing, he does a SG with a P90 and a Marshall, and man, he's just got some licks that it was awesome to find a classic guitar player, because I got into them like when I was in my early to mid 30s.
Okay.
Like a new classic guy who had some licks that I didn't have yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something we should talk more about on the show, Dave, is like obscure guitar players that you grew up listening to from when you was that wouldn't be a household name per se. Like, here's a name for you that I picked up on when I was doing my little blues phase, Clarence Gatemouth Brown.
Okay.
And you're like, who, what? And then, but the guy, he just had these licks that they were blues based, but they were a little trickier than you'd expect.
Right.
And by the time I discovered him, he was an old guy, and he still had fire in his fingers, man. And Roy Buchanan, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and all that. But some of the more obscure players, I mean, there's a lot of players out there you can certainly learn a lot from.
Oh yeah.
Currently, what I'm doing now, because we've been off since the middle of April, so we had a good month and a half that I'm like right in the middle of now. And also, in Ace's band, he plays all the leads. I just play rhythm, so I gotta do some stuff to stay sharp. And I've been focusing on the stuff that I'm not good at or I can't do.
Right.
I just figured, enough's enough. Like I need to. I can't hybrid pick, so I've been forcing myself to learn some hybrid, like where you pick and use your middle finger also.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing about our guitar playing. No matter how many years you play, you're always learning, right? You can always find something. Like we had Bumblefoot on yesterday. Guy plays a fretless neck and a regular standard neck, double neck thing, and he's learning Spandau Ballet songs, and really, really learning them. Like taking them apart.
Yep, it was amazing.
And we were like, wow, I never really realized. I just thought it was sort of a generic love song. Oh, no. There's a lot going on there, and I'm learning and I'm gone. I want to get it right. So when the singer sings, he's comfortable and all this kind of stuff. And, the band makes fun of me because every video I put up of me playing is a song we don't do in the band. I said, well, why would I want to play a song I've done hundreds of times in the band for? I'm looking for something to challenge myself, right?
Yeah.
A little something different.
But, it's a lesson in all professions. I'm a lawyer by day. That's my day job, right? And I'm learning every single day. I want to be, and hopefully I am, a better lawyer every day. And I learn and I find some case that's interesting to me, and I'll read on it and I'll shoot emails to friends. I check out this case, and it just keeps the brain moving. And I think the day we stop trying to improve is the day you should either hang up your guitar, you hang up your law degree, or what have you, because that the passion for anything you do, I think, comes from trying to do what you guys are talking about. And I play less guitar than you guys, but I try to get better too.
We can absolutely end up in a rut very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's why I'm doing this, because I'm totally like, when I do get a chance to like go for it, I feel myself like going back to those same licks I always do. And, I got bored with my playing. And another thing I'm doing is like fast country licks and chicken picking type stuff. Like, honestly, I have no practical use for it, but I want to be able to do it. Just as a professional musician in general, is like learning it, how the people know it, like it is on the record, and making it sound as close as I can to what people think they're going to hear.
Right. And what's cool is that by doing that, even something you're never going to use, on some level, it'll inform what you're doing. Or maybe, you have the freedom in some venue to take a lead, and somewhere in the back of your brain is that, and it just has this nice little impact on what you're playing.
Yeah.
And it just makes you even more three-dimensional as a guitar player.
It just puts it in your bag of tricks, I always call it, Yeah. That's why I use a Floyd Rose, because a lot of the tricks in my bag require a whammy bar to pull off from Van Halen or Brad Gillis or wherever I learned it from at the first time. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And it just becomes part of your little arsenal of tricks up your sleeve if you're in a jam situation.
I used to be a lot better at that stuff, like when Ryan and I were doing Big Rock Show, and that was all 80s metal, and
right.
We hadn't really done that band in a pretty long time now, so I don't know how many of those licks I have, like all those fast guitar solos that I used to be able to do. I'll bet if I tried to do like Bark at the Moon or Turn Up the Radio now, it might be kind of brutal.
Yeah. But if you wanted to, it would come back like riding a bike, though. You know,
I remember with Bark at the Moon, I used to have to practice that one just to make my fingers move that fast.
Right.
That was a particularly hard solo for me to learn because I don't naturally play like that. I can if I work at it, but that's not like
I
my
think we have a
natural
lot in
thing.
common in that respect because there's certain leads I literally have to practice before a gig.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't come naturally because that's not really my style of playing. But when you're a cover band, you have to cover and play somebody else's stuff. So oddly enough, I want to say that because of you, seeing you guys and seeing Ace, I went into a deep dive on a whole bunch of Kiss stuff, and his Ace's style is a little unorthodox.
Totally is. But
Yeah,
man, like,
it's
did
not
you
like
notice
it's not the normal guitar chords. You know what I mean? You're all over the neck and stuff.
But did you notice like his solos, as economic as they are, they're like their own songs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's always been my approach when coming up with a solo is that thought, like, is this its own song within the song, instead of just like
Yeah. Some of my favorite soloists are guys that Elliot Eason from the Cars always had nice little nuggets. Or
man, that guy is amazing. He always threw these weird notes in there, like in particular on Just What I Needed.
It is truly a song within a song.
With that half step thing there. Yeah, that's good shit.
Just What I Needed. Yeah, that. And he had a couple
that is such a great lead.
He go in and out of country licks and
Yep.
And
I like the way that he weaves in and out of pentatonic and major scale.
Yeah.
Yep. And there is such a crispness in what they pulled out of the studio in those songs. Like his sound, it stands out. It's clear, it's bright, it's crisp, and it's full at the same time. All those leads of his, and he made them memorable.
I like Neil Giraldo for the same reason. Like his Pat Benatar solos are really not normal. Some of them are simple, and it's all about tone and fretted harmonics and stuff. Could just be one note, right? Like Heartbreak, one note, right?
But it's too bad we don't have Ryan Roxy jumping in right now. he and I have a Neil Giraldo thing.
Yeah, we tried to get him on the show a couple times. I think I reached out to him. Like I said, it's you cold IM somebody on Instagram like, oh, this isn't real. This is a robot.
Yeah.
I try to make the message as human as possible, but sometimes they just blow it off or they don't read it at all.
I have a 41-year-old tape of my old band doing Heartbreaker, which because University of Delaware in 1983. We did that. But I was rhythm. I couldn't do that lead.
But I'm a big fan of a solo or a song within a song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Steve Lukather shits like that too. Like he played for the Tubes and he played for this guy, and he covered this song and that song for this. You find out that's an interesting solo. Who plays guitar for the Tubes? Oh,
yeah.
Well, I just learned that. I didn't know that. I didn't know he did that.
Oh yeah, he co-wrote the "She's a Beauty."
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's a great solo.
He was the only part. I saw Ringo Starr in Atlantic City, I don't know, a year and a half ago.
Oh, the All-Star Band?
It was horrible. I'm sorry.
Really?
I hated it. But I really did. But he was there, and he was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I hated it.
I absolutely hated it. It was a big ass pile of 4-prong walkers. Literally, I couldn't get to my seat because there were all these old folks shuffling along, and no one was sick. They were just so old they couldn't walk anymore.
Oh dear!
It was the most un-rock and roll experience. It was, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. Except for him. He was.
I guess
great.
that's the difference between his show and a Paul McCartney show, then.
Yeah, it was such like a bad, not good poppy. To me, it was a bad poppy vibe. And Steve Lukather, he was there. He was great. And what's his name? I always forget which of the Winters lived.
It's probably Edgar.
Edgar, yeah,
Doing
because I
Frankenstein and all that.
his brother in 1979 in Madison Square Garden. But so Edgar was great and Steve was great, and the rest I thought was horrible. It was like, if you like rock, it was boring. I was bored out of my mind.
I got the whole Johnny's Firebird. Neck heavy as hell.
Yeah.
I met Johnny backstage at the old Club Benet years ago.
He played there?
Yeah, back like in the late '80s.
Yeah, that's
And,
Jersey, by the way.
His health was still hanging in there, but he was cool. But he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, come on back to the tour bus. We'll hang out." So that you go in the tour bus and all the lights are off. Right? Makes sense. And his girlfriend at the time, I'm crashing into stuff on the bus. I can't see anything. And I go, he goes, "You want a quick picture?" And I go, "Yeah." So there's a picture of me and Johnny, and he's taking a picture of me in a dark room with the girlfriend with the flash bulb, an old school Instamatic or something. And I got my eyes open like this. Worst picture ever. But at least the guy got a picture with Johnny.
Yeah,
and he let me hold his guitar.
So
Very
Jeremy,
cool.
we have in Jersey this iconic old place. I don't think they're around anymore, but one town over from where Scott and I grew up, made famous by Howard Stern, John Bon Jovi, because that was one of his main places where he would gig. And Howard would do live shows from there all the time. And I didn't know Johnny played there, but that would make sense to me. It was
Albert Collins there too, and Joe
was he
Cotton,
really?
and so George Carlin there. They always had a lot.
Oh man, George Carlin.
Yeah, it was a really famous venue. Scott and I were a little too young to have fully enjoyed it in its heyday, but it was like a restaurant lounge, like out of the '60s.
Real old school.
What was it called?
Club Benet.
Yeah,
and they probably have a great Wikipedia page. I've never thought to look at it.
It was pretty legendary, but I mean, the acts that went through there were like some like older acts that you thought, oh, so and so's washed up and he's not playing Vegas anymore, but he's at Club Benet.
Yeah, like a Frankie Valli kind of act and people like that.
You can go to Club Benet.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But they were strong entertainers. Anybody that passed through that, but they did not.
Yeah,
they didn't lose anything on their fastball for sure. Johnny's show is incredible.
And I heard Nashville might have one or two venues that are okay. Do you play locally much?
Man, not anymore. For 5 years, Phil and I co-hosted a show called the Rock and Roll Residency, and Ryan was part of our tour version and one of our main guests here.
Right.
But we did that every Tuesday for free for 5 years.
Oh wow!
But then, like towards the end of 2018, we were touring with Gene and Ace.
Okay.
So it made it difficult. You can't tell people you're doing a weekly show if you're not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, we're not gone that much, but enough to where people don't really call anymore, and it's just everybody got touring gigs. So everybody I used to do shows with are all, our drummer's with Tom Kiefer, our bass player plays with an artist called Maggie Rose. Phil's with Accept, I'm with Ace, and it got too hard.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you trek out to Memphis at all? Are you a fan of Memphis?
Man, I have not been to Memphis in a long time.
My guitar came from Memphis.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite towns. But you cover the whole town in about a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Memphis
so tiny.
got pretty rough. That's probably the reason that I've not been there in a while. But
yeah,
I would imagine with Nashville being what it is now, that Memphis by default probably got a little cooler also.
Yeah. It's been about 10 years for me, but I've been there 5, 6, 7 times, and it's just such a great vibe there. And it's more rock heavy. Like I go to New Orleans a lot, and New Orleans is a little more jazz heavy with a little bit of rock. And Memphis just feels a little more rock heavy with a little less jazz. But it's
my prediction was when they're done with Nashville, when there's nowhere else to build and every hotel has built a place here, that Memphis is next. I mean, it's rich with musical history. It has affordable real estate, which was like the big deal here. Why the mass exodus from California happened. It's lots of cultural history. Just it's actually a cool town. I just haven't really been there in a while.
Yeah,
Fun fact: So I lived there in 1977 because my dad was in the Air National Guard, and when Elvis died, they called out the National Guard. So my dad had to work security at Graceland
Wow.
when Elvis was dead, and they had the body in the casket in the living room, and they're feeding, all the troops out of the kitchen.
Oh God.
And that tiny little place, because you've been there, it's
Yeah.
not gigantic
It's not
like
that
people
big.
think. It's a split
No.
level from the 70s. Like it's not.
Is it really?
Oh
It
yeah.
does. It looks gigantic.
No,
not.
it's 3,000 square feet, maybe. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not like it's just a house. You know,
my house is as big as Elvis's house.
I'm
telling everybody that from now on.
It's not a gigantic home by any stretch. So that's wild.
Dave has a really nice house.
Not a
really
big one.
nice house. No, but it's beautiful. You just step outside and just see nature.
Yeah, I'm looking at water right now, right past my computer.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Really awesome.
You wouldn't think it's Jersey.
He never invites me over though. He only let me come to his birthday party because I brought him that stupid guitar. Otherwise,
he did such a good job. All right, do you know any idea what the hell kind of pickups these are? Look at these things.
I have no idea.
They're weird.
They look like P90s, but they're not.
They look like they're made in somebody's garage.
I know.
Can you?
The poles have holes in them.
What's that?
I said, can you turn it up and not feed back?
Yeah.
My guess is there's some kind of lace humbucker or something.
Yeah, it's a cool guitar. But Scott was such a thoughtful guy. When we played together in high school, I had a Westbury that I don't have anymore, and he went out on the internet. I don't know if he got it from Sweetwater or Facebook Marketplace, but he found a Westbury for me.
Found it on the internet, just like everything.
Yeah, but he worked it up for me, and it plays great.
All this shit behind me, internet. Yeah, the Rolling Rock Telecaster I've got here.
That's
man.
I
moved about 2 years ago, and when I was preparing for the move, I realized that I did not need any of that shit, and I pretty much sold anything collectible, all of my records. I scaled down my guitars and just decided, you know what, man, I'm
editing this shit out. I don't want my wife to see this. You just said, are you kidding me?
Yeah, you're gonna get Scott in big trouble. But that's such a healthy attitude, though, because at the end of the day, you're still playing great music, you're still having fun, you're still enjoying it.
Yeah, well, like with the records, I hadn't really listened, and I had a lot of vinyl. I hadn't really listened to any of them since my first son was born.
Right.
And I've got a 3-year-old also, so
mine
that
are
means
all
I'm not
boxes downstairs too.
I'm not going to be listening to any records, and then I'm kind of an old dad, so by the time they're grown, I'm going to be in my mid-60s, and am I really going to want to get up and flip over a record after 15 minutes?
No, it's true. So I got a funny one. So in my old band, my bass player, a guy named Mike Bernstein, as in Lenny's nephew, literally. He had like a 1,500 album collection, and his roommate rescued a cat from the streets of Washington, D.C. And the cat said, "Ooh, look at that scratching post," and destroyed the spines of all 1,500 albums.
Oh,
yeah, Mike wasn't very happy.
My dog Max used to tinkle on my records, so you know what kind of shape they're in.
I guess I just got lucky. I didn't have that problem. My cats spared my records.
Oh.
And then even my Kiss stuff, like me and Ryan and Phil were doing the Kiss live auctions together, and we all did really good off that stuff.
Oh, I bet. Now, do you have any of your old Kiss albums from when you were growing up?
I did keep all of those.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
The very, very first one I bought, the first Kiss record I bought was side 3 and 4 of Alive 2. And I bought it from this kid in my backyard. He came out with Alive 2 without the cover. It was like, hey, man, I'll sell you these for 50 cents a piece.
That's not bad.
My mom gave me 50 cents to buy one. And my brother was like, get that one. It has Shout It Out Loud. So I have that record signed by all 4 members.
Oh, that's really cool.
Pretty cool.
All right. So that's a good keepsake.
Yeah.
That might even trump my Planet of the Apes poster, I'm going to say.
That record is fucked up too, man. I was 4 when I bought it.
I could put up Ace Frehley dates here. with the magic of QR codes. That covers
Oh,
your face, Dave. Sorry if you lean to the right a
that's
little.
all right.
or
I'll put
left.
my nose there so you don't see my scar. Okay, here we go.
So you go there, you'll
Yeah.
see them all, and they are changing, and they're
Yeah.
adding every day almost. It seems.
Yeah, to the point where like I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you even know where you're going to be in the next month or two?
Nope. I can tell you that a lot of our shows coming up are these package things. Ace has a new agent, and we're on a lot of bills with like Slaughter and Aldo Nova and Vixen.
I saw
and,
that. Yeah.
You know, Steven Adler, some stuff like that. So that's actually going to be kind of fun. Doing
Yeah,
some
I would
shows
think.
other than just like Ace and
Because you
local
you kind
opener.
of get your built-in audience, close.
Yeah, and we
genre.
have friends in a lot of those bands, so it
Right.
makes it fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. And you'll each feed off each other. You bring in a huge crowd, they'll add to the crowd. And it's a boatload of nostalgia mixed in with great music.
Yeah.
Do you have a backup guitar to that sweet blue sparkly thing?
I suppose the backup is now the 93 Les Paul Standard that I had been using.
Yeah.
My personal fave that I play around the house all the time is an early 90s Japanese Esquire reissue.
Okay.
It belongs to my roommate from the 90s, and it's on pretty much permanent loan. He ain't getting it back.
I'm a big cheapo guitar guy. I got a lot of my cheap guitars play better than my expensive guitars.
Yeah, this guitar
and honestly,
plays fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I can't tell you I don't bring anything expensive out to the clubs to play. They have a tendency to disappear or get hurt.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my one nice guitar is a 1977 Gibson RD Standard. I used to tour. I've toured all over the world with it, but it's retired. That's like my one really nice guitar.
Right.
Totally feel you.
I managed to escape, any cracked headstocks or anything like that. So
just retire it, and it'll be hopefully safe at home.
So now it's just going to sit in a case, and
Dave will be touring the world with his Westbury.
That's
soon.
right. I will.
I'm trying to set up a tour date for him.
That's right. You know what does crack me up are the little intro song for this was my old band, and if you look at the Facebook analytics, we've reached like 1 million people for that shitty song. So
is that the one that had like the busy drum beat and the busy bass line and stuff?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm doing.
I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. I really did.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's like I did this. I didn't play the lead though. A different guy played the lead, but I did the funky rhythm. And
you can download the song from the merch page for 99 cents. Along
you
with
would be the first
my award-winning song called "Man Overboard."
Yeah, Scott's is better, but yeah, I just want one person to spend 99 cents on that shitty song. But but it's reached at this point. It's reached over 1 million people for 17 seconds of a song.
And I did the music bed for our Confections of a Rockstar spot,
which is great.
Me playing.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. I think I'm just jamming to a track or something, and we used it because we didn't want to get sniffed out by using someone else's music by accident.
So it works. It works.
So I just jammed to a track and then stuck it up there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So how much time do you have left before you your next leaving home gig?
Let's see. I am leaving on May 25th. Our next gig is at Mohegan Sun with Slaughter, Aldo Nova, and Steven Adler.
That's a biggie. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be
really
fun.
Cool place.
That'll be great.
Yeah, we're playing the arena there, not the Wolf's Den. So I'm pretty excited. I've never played Mohegan Sun, so this is
a pretty great place. Really nice.
Yeah.
It's
we're
like
all big fans of casinos because the hotel is always attached, so you can just walk to the gig.
It's crazy when you if you're driving up, which you probably will. You're just going to be in the middle of nowhere. Because I went to school in New England, very close to that place. When they originally built it, we went over to take a look at it, and Foxwoods.
Yeah.
And all you see is woods.
It's
forest as far as the eye can see. And all of a sudden,
just sticking out. Yep.
It's just like a little oasis of gambling.
I don't want to see it. On our last trip, we were driving either to Rome, New York, or we were driving from, I think we were driving to, and our road manager and and Scott Coogan had some tickets from something they'd won, like slot machine, I don't know, like to turn in. So like we pulled over real quick for them to cash in their slips and then hit the road again. So I at least got to see it that one time.
No, you'll like it up there. And you could, if you have time, shoot over to Mystic, which is a cool little town on the water.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
I don't want to brag, but I saw Miley Cyrus there at Foxwoods.
Oh, wow.
Not a Mohegan Sun. My ex-wife and I took our daughter there, but it was really an excuse for me to see her, you know. But that was my cover.
Have you ever seen a concert that you thought was going to suck and it ended up being like really good? Like you had to go with somebody. I got my answer, but I'll hold for a second.
Let me think about that for a second because I'm pretty sure I have.
Yeah, you go. I have one, but you go first, unless you want to work on.
No, you go ahead. So
think about in college, the singer in my band and we went and saw Rick Springfield, expecting it to suck, but we did it like ironically. He was great. He's a great guitar player. He could sing. And the only problem with the show is it was 90% female and they were screaming like he's the Beatles. And we actually had trouble. We had trouble hearing it. Like there was that much screaming. But he's actually got rock and roll chops and his style is rock. It's just that, you know, he's a pretty boy. And that was always his struggle, is that he looks different than his actual music. But
Il Dorado Soul, Jesse's girl.
I didn't know that.
Man, it's true. I hope I look like that when I'm in my 70s.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yes, he looks ridiculous. Yeah.
If I took my shirt off, ticket sales would go down. So so I got stuck with taking my kid sister to the concert at the PNC Bank Art Center, which was called the Garden State Art Center in New Jersey. It's like a gigantic flying saucer outdoor venue thing. I don't want to take her there. Yeah, Scott, you got to take your sister. Who am I going to go see? Billy Idol. Now, I was going to see Billy Idol at the heyday, that, you know, like in '82 when he was on top of the world, right? He was on every video and everything. And I was dreading it. And the weather was a little shitty too. It was kind of raining out and stuff. He comes out in a raincoat. Steve Steven was shot out of a cannon. I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching and listening to. I was completely blown away how great it was. Unbelievable. Totally cool. Did not expect that.
I've got a few of them, but the one I can think of off the top of my head, because I've referenced this show a couple times this week. So like right now in Nashville, we're having this emergence of cicadas. It's like the 25-year.
Oh, I love cicadas. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so many, it's out of hand. Like it's kind of fucking weird. It's like a horror movie. Yeah. But like the sound of all of them is like this super high pitched thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of the Hanson concert that I took my friend's son to in the 90s. Like all of those little girls together sounded like the cicadas, and that's what it sounds like outside my house right now. And what I do remember about that show is like, yeah, they were like some fucking teeny bopper thing, but then they came out and they were fucking awesome.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But the cicadas are what reminded me of that show lately, because I've kind of had to reference that a few times lately.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I love cicadas. Love cicadas. When you get this like every 25 years thing, you're right. It's like a horror movie. And then you get the dead shells of the bodies all over the street.
And they're all like at the base of the tree, and there's piles and piles of them. Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking gross.
That's something your dog would probably want to eat, Dave. I'm surprised.
Oh, he would. He would.
Bo's not going around eating cicada carcasses all
at
over
least
the
he's
place.
not eating his own shit anymore. That was a good phase. That was a really good phase. Yeah. That wasn't disgusting at all.
One show that I didn't expect it to suck, but it was like when I discovered Brian Setzer. He played this free thing downtown, and man, I didn't think twice about him. I just went because it was free.
Yeah.
And it blew me away so much that, I wound up seeing 5 shows, like, not in Nashville. I traveled around a little bit to go see them.
Well, guess who became a huge
awesome.
Steve Stevens fan?
Yeah.
Ever since that day. In fact, when I cover, what do we do? Rebel Yell, I use a toy ray gun against one of the pickups to get that sound, which
That's
is
cool.
I totally stole it from him. I saw he was signing autographs on toy ray guns. I'm like, what's that all about? And then I saw the video, and instead of using, like, I guess in the old days he had like a synthesizer, noise that he would do for the machine gun sound.
Oh, right.
Now he just takes the ray gun, the kid ray gun, and holds it up to the pickup and hits the button, and it's fantastic, and it's a great bit.
Yeah.
Nobody sees it coming. And
the first time I saw him do that, Vince Neil was opening for Van Halen.
Oh, wow.
I saw him doing it that night.
Yeah.
By the way, Billy Idol, I just saw this morning, he did an acoustic Bob Seger song.
Really?
And what I like about it, he was okay, but he was willing to be vulnerable out there. Like he didn't play it perfectly. He sang it okay. He didn't sing it great, but the whole thing was earnest. Like it was from the heart. He enjoyed it. He probably didn't do a bunch of takes. He just said, I'm just going to do this song. I think it was Turn the Page, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. But he did just like, hey, I love this song. I'm going to play a little guitar. I don't give a shit if it's far from perfect. And it was so different from what you expect from Billy Idol.
Yeah, they're out there touring though.
Yeah. And his guitar playing was just basic. He didn't do anything special, but it was great. Like I loved it. And I loved that he did something like that. I thought it was very cool.
Man, one really awesome thing about Billy Idol was like when Rebel Yell was big, he straddled the line between hard rock and new wave. So like he got the new wave crowd, but he also had a lot of the hard rock crowd also.
He did. He pulled it off. And he's got to be in his 60s now. I don't think he's in his 50s anymore. I don't know that, but I would guess. And he looks great. He takes care of himself. But we did one of his songs.
I love that intro to Rebel Yell.
Yeah.
Not a lot of bands do it the real way. They just play the single notes. Don, 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 but that he's got like sort of a flamenco guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that once. It's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
We did the shitty version. We did the lame, easy version. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out there.
You make, if you got another guitar player, you just make him do the
exactly.
There was guy can do the single.
I made it my mission to learn that riff. I found Steve Stevens teaching it online, and I learned it right from the master himself. And you're right. Once you get it down, the muscle memory of it, it's a great lick.
That is a great lick, which I never learned.
I'll teach it to you.
Yeah, I'll take that from you. Scott's actually going to give me a lesson for my birthday. We haven't picked what.
Yes, I promised you a guitar lesson, but you haven't picked up what song.
I have to figure out what song I want to learn.
If it's a Kiss song, you get Jeremy on the phone.
When I had hot guitar players in my bands, what I would do is when they would take a solo, I'd kill my volume and pretend to play it with them. But I'm not kidding.
Dave Grohl just did that. He pretended to play the solo for Eruption.
I saw that today.
In the back playing it.
Yeah. And he did a very good sort of guitar lip sync version, like
it was
his air
guitar.
guitar.
The first video I
gotta
saw,
be honest,
wow,
when I
really
started watching it, I
didn't know he had those kind of chops.
Yeah, I was full. Yeah, he looked like he was really doing it. He pulled it off.
Yeah.
And I thought, all
but
right.
then when he got to the descending part, that was where he fell off a little bit, and then I was like, oh, wait a second. And then he held his hand. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a great little bit he did. And I'm sure he's no slouch on guitar. He's a decent guitar player. But I don't know that he could do that to all.
Their rhythms, the rhythm guitar based stuff is pretty clever. Some of it,
yeah,
definitely clever. When you sit again, this is going back to Bumblefoot again. When you sit down and have to learn a song and really break it down, you go, wow, that's really that's a smart choice. I would never thought of doing it that way. Which is something I always say about like Ringo Starr's drumming. Let's say, everybody goes, he's not that great. But like, he's no Neil Peart. No. But would you play Come Together that way on drums? If you were just a drummer, you'd be playing it straight.
Yeah, that's true.
This stuff.
Wait, what was that, Scott?
And just like that, Dave, we're at an hour.
Look at that. Holy shit. We are.
Believe it or not.
Man, that's crazy.
I have a picture
how fast that goes.
Here's a picture of some handsome guys we met in New York City.
There we go. Oh, well, you got to move it over. His face is blocked. You want my face blocked?
No, I can see.
I can see everybody.
I can see everybody.
Oh, I guess my screen's a little different. All right, good.
You don't have an Apple.
You're right. I have a shitty Acer I'm working on right now. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, man. I could keep going. You could just start bullshitting and like, oh, it's been an hour. Oh man.
Well, the two things we always say about our show is that it flies. Like, people feel like it's been 10 minutes, but it doesn't count for you because you were a friend before we came on. We normally say you come on as a stranger, you leave as a friend, but we've already hung out, so you're already a friend.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. And,
Thank you. And you're allowed to hang after the show, after the credits, and chit chat a little more if you want. Or if you got to go eat your ramen noodles, you can go ahead and do that too. But why not Big Daddy take us out again?
Yeah, let's have Big Daddy take us out.
Here we go.
Check out this bumper.
He's number 2.
Yeah.
2. I'm number 2. No, I was the second. That's right. I was the second one. The second on Guitar Tales, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching it right now. I'm Big Daddy Ed with the Amish Outlaws. I gotta go back to work. Here we go. Guitar Tales, watch it!